It's early in fall camp, but the position groups we were most concerned with going into fall, I think Auburn's taking a step in the right direction.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us. Where is this quarterback room now? We chime in on the potential impact that could have and a few interesting situations within it, as well as Perry Thompson. I mean, goodness gracious, what does his ascension and early chatter around him mean for this wide receiver room? But Darrell, going into fall camp and throughout the offseason, you and I had multiple conversations about the positions on this roster that we were concerned with. Running back, tight end on the offense, defensive line depth, and linebacker on the defense. We've heard a lot of chatter about the running back room to start things off. And personally, I feel better about the running back room now than I did a month ago.
I think I know why that is because somebody's emerged that we didn't, I think, probably put into the fray or the rotation a month ago. So you absolutely, that's a very valid point. My feeling towards it is that I feel a little bit worse than I did a month ago. And the only reason why is because I'm hearing about too many injuries. Now, that could be an overreaction on my part, and we still have 3 weeks before we kick it off. But when I keep hearing yellow jersey, yellow non-contact jersey, heel problem, not going full speed, those are the top three running backs that we talked about in Auburn's running back stable. Those were the adjectives and the descriptions given in the last week or so up for all three of them.
Yeah.
If they're all healthy and the emergence of Omar Mapson starts to keep ascending like we've heard, then I feel a ton better about it. But until I see yellow jerseys and non-contact jerseys come off of key people, I'm going to be a little bit more concerned than I was a month ago.
Yeah, I agree with that aspect of it, but just to push back and play devil's advocate here to keep the conversation alive, the guys that are kind of rotating in and out of being in full contact or not, and then I guess Cobb has been in a yellow jersey all of fall camp is my understanding so far. These are older running backs. I know Darrell Robinson hasn't been in the SEC. He's been at UConn, but still a guy who's been through the whole grind and gauntlet of fall camp, and they know what to expect to some extent. None of them have been like the leading back for an SEC team yet. One of them will be at some point, you have to assume. Like if you're a coach, like, do you ask yourself the question, like, these guys are going to get hit like crazy nonstop for the next, rest of the year? Do you just say, like, what's the point? Like, we know they can take hits to some extent. Is it worth it? Is it worth pulling them out of a yellow non-contact jersey? That would be my response to that.
I think that I've been so optimistic and so overly encouraged over the last 2 weeks about everything Auburn, which I want to make sure that I'm being realistic. Sure. We all have those. This is when you should be the most optimistic before everybody is, at this time. And so to try to be a little bit more real and not pump so much sunshine, I was thinking, okay, there's got to be a few concerns. There's got to be a few question marks. And I think you're absolutely right. The Robinsons and the Austins and the Cobbs have been through this already. But again, Darrell Robinson played at a level where the people on his schedule look nothing like it's going to be.
Yeah, it's not even
3 weeks from now. So, but I think I'll feel a lot better as soon as I start to see reps and natural reps. I will completely probably flip my opinion about this and go, okay, that concern is now taken care of, and it's settled because I'm seeing them on the field practice.
Yeah, for sure. So I get both sides of it. I'm excited about Omar Mapson and the chatter that is circling him, no question. I still think when it's all said and done, though, it's not going to look much different than what we've guessed throughout the offseason. Like, I think Damari's going to get first crack at it. I think Darrell Robinson certainly has a chance, and I think there's a role for Jeremiah Cobb. I know you're higher on Jeremiah Cobb than I am. You're higher on Jeremiah Cobb than most people. And he's actually the one that I'm most concerned about being limited, because we talked about, it's a finger that's injured. And like, if it was the other guys, like, I'm not as worried about it, but like, he's going to be thrown the football. We're kind of guessing, and you need the fingers to catch
the ball out of the backfield. And that's one of his biggest attributes and his most important weapons. And if you take that out of his arsenal, it is concerning.
What does it look like?
What does it look like? So again, I don't want to be doomed. I will say that if this passing game is clicking on all cylinders, I'm even less concerned because of what that will do to softening it up, the defense to be able to run. So that's another aspect of that too.
Yeah, I also don't think you need all four healthy. I think you're fine with just two in most situations, or two guys healthy and then one guy kind of limited, but enough to kind of be a third back in a situation. I don't think you need everyone fully healthy in the running back room as well, at least day one. So we'll see what that looks like. We won't spend as much time on the others, but tight end, I don't know if my opinion's changed on it much. I'm higher on Ryan G as a freshman than most people are, and it's not just because he comes on this show. And then I've heard really good things about Preston Howard as well. I think my view on Preston Howard is higher now than it was at the start of fall camp. And then Brandon Frazier, I think is Brandon Frazier. I think he's just kind of be solid and steady. Not going to win a game for you. Not going to lose a game for you.
Of the four position groups that we talked about having concerns, the breakdown for me is I'm more concerned about one than I was a month ago. The running back, two of them, I'm status quo. I feel the same. And just these are like little spoiler alerts. And then a fourth one I feel better about than I did a month ago. So tight end is one that I'm just kind of like holding pattern on, status quo. Although the Preston Howard news was very encouraging to me a couple days ago, where he is kind of emerging as a receiving threat, pass catching tight end. Didn't see that coming a month ago. I feel more towards the Brandon Frazier model of that. So I think that if Brandon Frazier stays healthy, he showed flashes in his 2 or 3 years that he was at Auburn. And so him and Howard, it may not be as much of an area of concern.
Well,
I want to see
forever.
He has
forever.
Now, you would probably know more about this than I would. How does that equate, though, to if you have them in the game, both of those guys, from a run blocking standpoint? See, that's where there's a lot of unknown and just inexperience with being able on 3rd and 3 from the 5 to push a pile as a tight end that's a run blocking tight end.
Yeah, and it probably depends on the situation, but if they put two tight ends on the field in a heavy situation, I would assume the tight ends are Frazier and then Tate Johnson. If it's your more traditional 2 tight end set where you want the full playbook, you're probably starting the game with Brandon Frazier and Preston Howard. And then I think Ryan G may back up both of them in that situation. So we'll see exactly how that develops. Yeah, I mean, I would assume your other one that you feel better about is defensive line because of the depth. Yeah, the linebacker to me is just like I'm actually a little concerned with Wheatland. Some of the reports about Wheatland is it's taken him a while to kind of get his feet set.
And I didn't see that.
I've talked about saying that he's like super important. So
I thought he was a plug and play. And to your credit,
he's got time.
But to your credit, you had Woodyard. I mean, you felt like Woodyard was going to start. I had Wheatland, and we'll see. But the defensive line and the interior defensive line, from a note that you put up earlier today on another website, where people will not stop talking to you about Autry and Crawford. Yeah. And you still got, and of course, how much Kyle loves James Ash. And so that, to me, those 3 are names I didn't even think about a month ago I knew who they were. I knew that they were here on campus. But if they're going to make an impact, then that concern goes away from me as well, from an interior defensive
then you got Jay Hardy, and then you've got Dallas Walker, Zacchaeus Walker, Bobby Jamison Travis. Like there's a lot of names there all of a sudden now. It's like, okay, I think this makes sense.
Yeah,
I think this makes sense. So all in all, 4 position groups we had questions on. up in the air on running back. We differ on that. And then I'm with you, tight end and linebacker. It's about the same. Linebacker, I might be slightly more concerned about. Like, I'm excited about Elijah Melendez. I don't know if I want to start Elijah Melendez against Baylor. So we'll see exactly what happens with that. And then, yeah, definitely the defensive line, step in the right direction for sure. Perry Thompson stealing the show so far in fall camp. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Darrell, we've all been there. We've all checked our account. It's like, goodness gracious, I spent too much money on whatever, food, Amazon delivery. It doesn't matter what it is. But Monarch Money is there to say, hey, like, you may not be aware of this, but this trend that you're spending stuff on, just check. I'm not telling you not to do it, but just say, like, hey, is this worth it? Is this best for your financial future? Darrell, we've all been there. But it's so nice having, you run a company. How important is the CFO? Imagine having a personal CFO in your entire life.
A virtual financial advisor is what it seems like. And that's great. It's a checks and balances, and to give you trending habits, spending habits on trends and that kind of thing. It's important.
Yep. No question. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. All off season, we discussed how great this receiver room could be. And admittedly so, like, we didn't talk about Perry Thompson like at all in those conversations. It was all Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, Malcolm Simmons, Horatio Fields. Goodness gracious, those guys could be electric. And then enter Perry Thompson, who says, hey, you guys forgot about me. Several of our commenters called us out too. They were right. Perry Thompson, I think with what we're hearing so far, I think he's doing everything he can to say, hey, I'm going to be a relevant piece of this offense. Now, I do have questions on this, though, because we mentioned a few of those guys, and I still don't know fully how he could surpass a few of those guys. Like, I don't see a world where he passes Cam Coleman. I don't see a world where he passes Eric Singleton. Assuming Malcolm Simmons plays, I don't see a world where he passes Malcolm Simmons. But after that, like, if a breakout Perry Thompson is your fourth receiver, and then you have Horatio Fields and Sam Turner, who people can't quit talking about, it's like, what a room this could be for the Auburn Tigers in 2025.
I didn't think that there was a way that, to me, the most impressive position group on this current Auburn team, and a position group that I haven't seen in quite a while on any Auburn team, could get any better. And that's the importance of Perry Thompson. And here's the thing. Speaking to somebody last night, was a guest on someone's podcast last night that watched him play a lot of high school football, and it went in line with what we heard. He was so big, so physical, that they threw him bubble screens and said, make somebody miss in high school, and said, run a fly pattern, run by the guy. And oh, by the way, if I underthrow it, just out jump the guy. You go from that to running intricate routes on a route tree that doesn't look like what Auburn used to have years ago that was so simple. And you had to learn. And remember who took him under his wing last year and really showed him the things about the intricacies about running routes, and that was KLS. And now you're talking about a guy that's the rave of Charger camp.
Yeah, Charger superstar, Keandre Lambert-Smith.
I think the light bulb went on. And I think it just took a year and a half, and I think it's only going to get better. The physical skills were always there. And my God, 21.8 miles per hour speed running.
And he's big.
I had a go-kart that didn't go that fast when I was in third grade. So 21, let's put it in perspective. Do you remember when you and I are at the Senior Bowl and they flash those up on the big board about how fast people are? And we're like, wow, that's right there with like top of the line NFL prospects.
Correct.
Day in, day out.
Correct.
He'd be at the top of the board. Unbelievable to me. And then the physicality of him. We saw it at A-Day, how big and physical, and, just the body type, the body control, all those things. Whew, I don't know how that position could have gotten any better.
So we all agree that the chat around him seems legitimate. Let's discuss like what that actually means. Auburn, it seems like they're going to run more 4 wide receiver set, but I imagine we're going to see a lot of 3 wide receiver set. So in a 3 wide receiver set for Auburn, I'm still anticipating Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton being on there. And depending on how they use Singleton in certain situations, that third receiver could be Malcolm Simmons, depending on if they want to put, who they want to put at slot, who they want to put opposite Cam Coleman. Or do they go with a Sam Turner, or do they go with a Perry Thompson, or do they go with a Horatio Fields? Like, I'm not fully convinced that even though Perry has broken out, will it be enough to be a top weapon in this offense? Not taking anything away from Perry. I'm just saying the guys that have already done it, I don't see them like losing targets because of this.
I think my only pushback on that would be is by the time you get into SEC play, does he surpass Horatio Fields? That's where I think the ceiling is. Does he? I mean, I think the other 3 are pretty much set in stone as to being your first 3 on the field. Does he emerge if you go into a 4 wide receiver set as the 4th over Horatio Fields by the time SEC play starts? And that's going to be, I think, the indicator for me on how far he's come.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like what the staff truly thinks about where he is as a receiver. And we're going to see that game 1 because their first guess on those, I can't overstate how important those first 2 or 3 drives are for Auburn's offense against Baylor. I mean, you got to put your best shot out there. A lot of it's going to be scripted stuff. And so like, how much do they script to Perry Thompson? How much in comparison to what they script to Cam Coleman and to Eric and to Malcolm? We just don't know. We just don't know exactly what that looks like, but we will very early on against Baylor. But I don't know, man. I don't know. The whole, like, we've said it countless times, but the best case scenario for Auburn is Perry Thompson breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I hope that's what happens.
If any, you're going to lose Singleton to the NFL draft next year. So what if you're able to replace him?
You, in theory, could keep him. He's a junior.
Yeah.
But
I don't. Yeah, I'm just.
I get it. I'm just saying.
My feeling is watching those 1-minute videos of the 6 or 7 cut-ups of him coming off the line of scrimmage. Those first 5 yards, uncoverable. I just think he'll.
A lot.
Yeah, I think he'll go, and then you've got to have. He's got to be the guy that replaces. It slides into that starting role next year.
Yep. Yeah. It's a great spot to be in. Great spot to be in for the Auburn Tigers. What's up with this quarterback room? There's so many different, I don't know, it's very nuanced. And we'll tackle some of it in just a second. Right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Kia Autosport of Columbus. If you're looking for your new ride and you're located near Auburn or Atlanta, you're in luck. Just a short drive away in Columbus, Georgia. Kia Autosport of Columbus, bringing the heat with the Kia Summer Savings Event going on right now. You can save up to $3,000 off of MSRP on select 2025 Kia Sorento models. My family's bought a Kia Sorento before. It served us extremely, extremely well. All new Kia purchases come with tires for life and a lifetime powertrain warranty. Just make sure you ask for Chris Child when you get there and mention the show, mention Locked On Auburn, and you get $500 off any new Kia. So you take that for sure. So head over to Kia Autosport of Columbus, just off of Whittlesey Boulevard in Columbus, Georgia, or visit KiaAutosportColumbus.com to browse their full inventory and start saving today. Thank you so much to you for making us your first listen every single day. Darrell, the quarterback room, it's truly fascinating. It's truly fascinating. The addition of Ashton Daniels, the veteran from Stanford. I mean, he's lived up to the chatter. I don't think there's any question about it. So the dynamic of Jackson Arnold being the starter, Deuce Knight being the future of the program, and then Ashton Daniels being an experienced veteran backup. I can't wait to see how this unfolds because you're higher than anyone on Ashton. I don't think you mind me saying that. But how they'll all be used or not used this year, it will be fascinating to see because I don't think it makes sense to play Ashton outside of just being a true QB2. But anytime Hugh Freeze talks about him, he talks about how athletic he could be, and the package situation comes up. I'm interested to see what actually happens.
Well, the first thing is good for you for purchasing the Ashton Daniels card when you did, because I think the value is only going to go up, and you would have had to pay more when the season started. So you got in on it. You saved money by getting in it when you did, because good luck trying to get that card mid-October after he's put some TDs on the.
Oh, sure.
Actually, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I've been impressed with, I've talked about the fact that he was just a power 4 starter over 1.5 seasons. That's rare. That's a luxury to have that in your quarterback room.
Sure.
But I'm hearing things like touch, where he's placing the ball in practice, the way it comes out of his hand. I agree with what Kyle said. He does have a little bit of a funky delivery, but he still puts the ball where it needs to go. He's got arm strength. He's big. He's physical. I don't want people to misconstrue what I said months ago about packages. I think I need to differentiate what I mean by packages. I am with you and a lot of others that I do not want to see Jackson Arnold take Auburn all the way down the field, get in the red zone, and then him get pulled for a package for no.
Okay.
Leave it alone. It's working. You've got momentum. Jackson Arnold can run himself. I'm talking about maybe a package. Let's say you stall on a couple of drives, and let's say it just looks stale. You come out and just bring him out and let him run a couple of quarterback runs, a couple of quarterback sweeps, throw the ball around a little bit just to see, just something like that. I'm not, and even if it's not stale.
But why?
I'll say this, because he's got a certain skill set that can help you win football games. And I get it that people say, well, if it was that good, he would be the first teamer. That's not necessarily true. Other positions on the field have guys that are specialists. Ontario McCaleb could not beat out Michael Dyer, but there was a special niche for him to run jet sweeps that helped Auburn win. A number 3 receiver that might be a big-bodied receiver that you put in the goal line package on a fade isn't on the field when you're running slants. All I'm saying
is different, dude.
It is different. It is different. And again, I don't want to break momentum, and I don't want to have somebody looking over their shoulder. I just think if you've got somebody with a particular skill set, I sound like Liam Neeson in those movies.
Particular set of skills.
Yes, particular set of skills that I would hate to see those skills rot away on the bench every game for 12 games. And I'm talking about just even using him in mop-up duty. I'd rather see Deuce Knight come in if Auburn's up 20-25 and there's not a risk to lose the game. I'd rather see Deuce. I want Daniels' skill set to help Auburn win games or score points, even when the game's not put away. I'm not talking about maybe 3 or 4, 5 plays a game. But to me, I just think it would be a waste to have him on
3
the
or 4
sideline.
snaps a game.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, again, if Auburn's winning or they're going up and down the field, you don't change a daggum thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if there's a drive or two where there's an opportunity where, let's say, the defense is overplaying a particular thing, or the defense shows itself vulnerable to a quarterback draw or a quarterback sweep, and you don't want Jackson Arnold getting pummeled because he's your starter, although he can do it and he's got the legs and the athleticism to do it, you want him to take as less hits as possible. And this sounds horrible to throw the backup to the Wolves like it's red meat to the Lions, but your backup and the physicality of somebody hitting your backup isn't as high as a concern as hitting your starter. So what if a defense is overplaying a run or something like that and the quarterback has open running lanes? Let him try a series. Let him try a couple of plays where the defense is giving you something you need to take, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it unfolds. It sounds like reports out of camp are that he looks good so far. So Deuce is still with like the second group. So, I mean, is that just because he went through spring? I don't know. It's probably too early to sell, but
yeah,
you said it. I think you said it last week, like with the official depth chart will probably have or next to it. And that'll be one of the few times where I think or is actually legitimate, because I think it is kind of circumstantial with who the backup quarterback might be.
You want to give Deuce Knight reps because he's your future quarterback. And the best time to give him reps is when you're winning and he can relax a little bit and go through and get his feet wet as a college quarterback. You don't do that for Ashton Daniels, who's played 16 games. That's where he would slide down to the third, in my opinion, quarterback 3. If you're blasting Ball State, the next quarterback that comes off the bench better be Deuce Knight, so he can get snaps and get experience.
Yeah,
that's it. It's situational. I get it, but people think that I just conjured.
What if they're blasting Baylor? Why wait till the Ball State game? What if they're blasting Baylor?
That would be clutch. I didn't just conjure this up like I like Ashton. I mean, I saw him play games and I watched film, and that's why I thought
you don't like Ashton Daniels. You love him.
I think it's a rare situation to have the luxury of having a backup quarterback that has started that. That's all I'm saying, and that should be appreciated.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. But just because you have and appreciate a good backup quarterback, I don't think that means he's worthy or deserves snaps.
Just make sure your phone. That's fine. I mean, just have your phone near you when you're watching games, and that first time he makes a play or the play, you may want to turn your phone off because your boy's going to be hitting you up like you've never been hit up before.
Oh, you text me all game anyway. You text me all game anyway.
Yeah, we won't ever screenshot those. Some of them.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Darrell Dapprich, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Follow me on X, Dap6410. Good interaction, some fun stuff there. And then Wednesdays and Fridays here with you, Locked on Auburn. And then Sundays, 8 o'clock, the Barncast, me, you, and Kyle. It's fun. People get in the live chats and ask questions and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And if you're tuning in on audio, please make sure you're subscribed and leave us a review. It helps us show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.